two worlds meet. These 10th Street boys bring the party. Bring the noise from Hialeah with some joy.
Should I say
water like that?
Well, I'm telling you, bro. I'm focused, bro. I'm focused, man. Inside out.
You don't know who I am by now. I said,
You identify as.
you know, hey. When Alex takes a shower, the dude goes for 3 hours. I mean, it's like, you know he's going to be gone for a while. You have time. Do whatever you're going to do. Go grocery shopping. Go eat dinner.
Night, Latin spice and neon lights.
Just finished chewing on ice. I was like, oh, crap. Oh, gotta go faster. Gotta go faster. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to another edition of East 10th Street Boys straight out of Hialeah. I'm Bobby El Gringo. That's Alex the boy. Bebo, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. A little bit under the weather, but I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Getting close to Christmas break for the kids, so it's gonna be a little hectic. I know. Oh, you guys are on break already, or you guys? Or
yeah, we just had our last practice, and then
Perfect.
Monday night we had our last practice, and then we are off for 2 weeks, and then I think January 4th is when we see each other again, which is our game. We don't have another practice before our game, so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a little screwed up, but it is what it is. Alex, and
I like this.
What's up,
it's
Will?
like I'm camping.
Kevin.
You hear the little crickets in the background, right? Is that what he's saying? That's beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just gotta love it. You just gotta love it. But no, man. We had 5 of our kids show up to practice, which was fine. Duke, what's up, brother? Great to see you, my man. We had 5 kids show up to practice, so it was a little better. I actually did 1 on 5. I was told the kids, let's do. I went after a while because when they play against each other, they're a little more hardcore, a little more tough, and on each other, and they foul each other and all this. So compared to a game when they play cleaner, which is just crazy to me. All of a sudden, their head gets straight during a game. Second game was the best defensive game. I was so proud of them. But when you go into practice, like, all right, we're gonna do 5 on 5, or 4 on 5, and we'll get an extra kid off the bench, come out, somebody's brother, and all of a sudden they're hitting each other, they're crying. I'm like, oh my god. So what I said was, all right, you know what we're gonna do? I said, let's do something fun. You 5 over there, go stand over there. They're like, what the hell is happening? I had the ball, and I go, all right. You guys got to work as a team. There's only one of me. I said, I won't take it easy because I will block it. I'll try to do whatever I can. I said, but you're faster, you're smaller, you're a team. Work together, and of course they did. It was, but it was just so funny because they were like, what? It's all blocking and doing all this.
Yeah.
They won't let us run out of court. Yeah, that's the only thing.
What do you mean? They won't let you run out the court in the center?
Yeah, because their league rules are we cannot practice during the holiday break. So we can't really do any team practice. So we'll probably do something with Tristan. I just got to trust that, guys, the kids remember.
I mean, you can go clandestine and, go to a park and, have a meetup.
Oh.
And,
Tati says, congratulate him on the championship. Congratulations on the championship. Did Jake win a championship?
Oh, yes. My son's team won.
Congratulations.
Which is part of the reason that I did not see the Dolphins game at all. We were
good for you. Yeah. Lucky for you.
it was a 3-day tournament, man. It was insane. It was 2 days in Coral Springs, and then the final day was in Overtown.
That's crazy.
Does
he enjoy that? Do you got? Does he enjoy doing the traveling basketball, going to different places? And
yeah, he's really looking forward to because now we're part of the Adidas circuit. So in January, February, March, we have tournaments. I believe it's South Carolina, one in Georgia. So it's a cool experience that I last year I thought it was too young for it, and we didn't do a lot of out-of-state tournaments. We didn't do any out-of-state tournaments. We did all the furthest we went was Orlando. So this year they're older, but it is a crazy thing to see because watching from the sidelines, they've added a few players, they lost a couple players, but from last year to this year, the change is 180. The growth of these kids in organized basketball is not only about the sport because some kids might not make it all the way, but organized sports teaches you discipline, teamwork. It also teaches you how to deal with failure, accepting when you fall short of your goals. So it's a whole whirlwind that they just love being around each other, and they're kids. So at the end of the day, when the game is on the line, there's still some kids that eat shit. My son sometimes eats shit, and he's always joking around. He's like, that's who he is. And then when he's locked in, he'll get locked in. But it's so funny to me when you see these little like miniature athletes going at, and these games get competitive, man. You'll see it as your kids get older, Bobby, and they get to 10, 11, 12. Like it's a different ball game. Like I still remember coaching my son when he was 5 or 6. Like when you mentioned that 1-on-5, we would do that with the assistant coaches and go up and have a great time. And you're like, wow, what a difference a 5 to 6 year makes. But thank you for the congratulations, and it was very well
She
deserved.
did. I
They did
did.
great.
I don't really do Instagram too
Yeah,
much.
me
Really, I
neither. Me
don't.
neither.
Tati was the one. She showed me some, and I remember
Yeah,
she showed
yeah,
me. But
yeah.
that's why she's more in the know than I am. I'm not a dick. I just forget.
I'm not a dick. I'm the same way. Like, and if anybody out there ever messages me or I don't respond in time, I have a lot of of messages open
Well,
that
that just
sometimes get
means
lost
for
in
those who do
translation.
that, that just means you're just not that important. He doesn't mean to
Exactly.
ignore you.
No,
It
I.
just means that you're not that important. See, when I
Oh no, no, that's not
message him,
true. That's
he
not
will
true.
get back to me.
Well,
You
that's
know?
different. That's different. Absolutely, absolutely. We
Just
have like
letting you
a
know.
24-hour
We're
policy
not on the
before we take.
same. Yeah, we're not on this. I don't want to be on the same pedestal as everybody else. Let's be real now. No, dude, no, you're right, and I mean, but it's crazy. Even I'm in 7 and 8 right now.
Uh-huh.
That's the age group, but from 6 to 7, 7 to 8 is such a
Oh yeah,
difference. I mean,
yeah,
and you could tell which children because they are into it. You know, my
yeah.
son is really he's watching every game. He's analyzing. He was so mad at Tyler here yesterday or the other day for no reason. You know, watching the game, and which it's like Tyler had to take that shot, dude. It's what it was. But he was like, Tyler, you need to be a hero. His name shouldn't be Tyler Hero. It should be Tyler Villain. I'm like, leave it alone. He was so mad. I'm like, but he's always working on his game.
That's good.
I have other kids, and there's a kid, Max and Hayes, and those kids really work hard, and they always are trying to compete against themselves, which is the best thing. When I'm noticing the kids are trying to compete against themselves, and I bet I make it, bet you won't. And then when the game's on the line, and they're working together and they're talking to each other, that is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, dude, like, obviously I'm just 2 years in now, and he is very passionate. He's doing this, and how it is. I'm the same way, Alex. You're the same as me and you are the same, where it's kind of like, don't rub it in, just keep playing. Like Tristan starts when he scores, he starts going like this, and he starts doing the whole thing. I'm like, hey,
taunted.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. I'm like, dude, stop.
That's the game now. It's unfortunate.
That's what they are. Yeah, they're doing all this stupid stuff. And for me, as you are too, it's like, like stop talking shit, just play. Like dude.
The little 3-point shot.
Oh, stop it. It's like, what are you doing? But it's so fun watching them, and I really love it. Like, how, just like you, I don't have to say it. You know how much time I have? Zero. You know what I mean? And so you would think, it's like, I got to do this. Oh, no, I love it, man. It is a real fun environment. It's really cool to do. I'm loving that I'm doing this with my son. I tell him that all the time because, he's like, dang, I was like, man, this is you. This is all you. And, but we have a good group of kids. So I'm excited, man. And like I told you, sending you those videos, I got to sit down at home and rewatch the game.
That's a cool thing.
And finally got to enjoy it because it is, I'm sure, but now you're coaching other kids, but
yeah,
I'm not really watching my son. I'm not enjoying that moment as father. I'm coaching. I'm telling kids, go back, come up, do this, do that. But I'm talking to the kids on the sideline, the one who just came off the court. I'm telling, hey, next time try to do this. You did great here. But
yeah.
And then of course now I get home, I get to watch this, and I'm like, I'm watching on my phone, I'm watching on TV, and also I go, holy crap, because these kids get afraid of the ball. These younger kids are, so I tell them, it's just a ball. Put your hand out, grab the damn ball. And so to see that kid beat Peyton Manning that ball, Tristan come down with it, doesn't even think about it, turns around, throws it up, lays it in.
That's a good transition. That's beautiful. I saw that one. That was nice.
And then the second one where the kid kind of throws it to Tristan's feet, Tristan has to recollect himself. I think that's when you messaged me back. And I didn't even notice that he got trapped by two guys. And cut in. I'm like, what is it?
Like, I don't know if he picked up and double dribbled, but I'm like, they're not calling double dribble in that age.
No.
He
did. They're a little more.
They pick it up,
call it, but they're a little more. It's a little harder than his last year. But no, that part right there where you kind of ran in.
Yeah. But it was
still,
funny, man.
But he did that. He counts. He goes 1, 2, throw. 1, 2, throw. He counts his feet. So he doesn't try to do 3. He's he practices.
And at that age, Bob, enjoy it, because I know sometimes it was hard. You're going to hold your son accountable. It's true.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass sometimes to coach your son. It is true. And also now for me, this year I've made a vow to not be as passionate on the sidelines. So I do not take away the attention of the actual coaches. because my son would tend to look at me, and it's unfortunate because even as when you're an assistant, you get to enjoy a lot of things. You really do. When you become a head coach, at any level, it's kind of like a lonely life because now you are responsible for all the decisions you make or don't make. So if something fails or doesn't fail, there's times that I sit down alone and I'm sitting there and I'm like, and I'm analyzing and I'm watching the film and I'm like, fuck, man, like what? Okay, that one worked. But I'm like, did it not work because I didn't call it properly? Did I design it properly? But I'm like, or they're just not committed. And then you overanalyze everything. That the 6, 7, 8-year-olds is like the last time you could really enjoy these kids just having fun, going around, because then everything kind of becomes a like either you're watching or Sons always has it the worst.
It's true
Yeah,
because,
it's true.
and I noticed that because the other kids, I'm like, hey guy, hey buddy, do this, try to do this, and hey, quiet down, talking, but where Tristan, I'm like, hey, cut that out.
Yeah,
Don't
you're
do it
setting
again.
an example.
Do it again.
But
Do it again. Tristan goes, yes, coach. And I started to realize, oh shoot, dude, that's like, oh, okay, but no, but it's true, and I'll tell you what, you're right when it comes to. Because first off, you know a whole row of parents are looking at you on the other side. There's a whole freaking audience there.
Absolutely.
And so like for me, like even thinking about it, even though we're winning, I'm like, I didn't like the way they're playing defense, and he got called twice on a foul. So I'm like, do I let them run through or do I just stop it because we're on a roll? No, I told the referee, I said, when that ball comes back, whether it's a score or a rebound or whatever, call a timeout. And he, so they stole the ball. Woo! And I was like, and that was one of the things. Everybody look at me. I go, Come here. I'm just acting out. I said, all right, hey, listen up. I'm like,
I did one of those and it happened to me. Who was it? Oh, Will Hardy from the Jazz. When he called the timeout, that Colin Sexton crossed over a guy, and he called the timeout. Okay. I was upset at my team for the defensive sequences back to back, right?
You see?
And I told my assistant, I'm like, if they fucking do that shit one more time, I'm gonna burn one. Because I was saving my time out. It was the fourth quarter. I think it was like 4 minutes left. I had 2. I'm like, I'm gonna burn one. That's it. They're executing it, right? They go on a defensive. I forgot what rotation we were doing. I think we were like in a zone defense, like a hybrid zone that I run. And I told him to switch it up to man. I call my man Epstein, like all over you. So we call it Epstein. And when they switch, one player picks up the wrong player and he doesn't cross. And I'm like, and I'm livid. Yeah, I named my defense Epstein. Yes, yeah. we went
all over
through,
you.
All over
wow.
You, bro. We have one of our inbound plays is Diddy. Or the other play. We have Hawk Tua. We have a bunch of them. Varsity has Hawk Tua. So whatever he goes and then he blows the coverage, but he gets the steal. I didn't see that he got the steal, because I saw that he blew the coverage, and I turned around to the referee and I'm fuming. I'm going to the mid-court, literally just like Spo does. And I'm calling a timeout. And my team is on a break and they're like, no, coach. And even when they were going back, I was pissed. I was throwing the clip, but I'm like, guys, I'm sorry for fucking that up. That was actually a good recovery. I'm sorry for that one. But that's on me. We ended up winning, but it's still the method. I'm like, do what's right, man.
That's right. Well, that's how it was for me. And again, guys, I just want to say, first off, what I call my defense is white on rice defense. Stay, very close on them. Stay on them. It's working. It's awesome. And then my offense is spread the wealth. 2 back, 3 front, spread it out. That there's different ways to win a game, and it's not just scoring. You got to pass, you got to dribble, you got to defense, have fun. So it's working. So I keep it PG. Alex obviously goes the whole other level.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. I'm all right. They love it. They name their place. I give them the option to name their place. So it's always funny what they come up with.
You got the Bill Cosby too.
Oh.
Which one's the Bill Cosby play? The rebound.
That's the late game situation, all out zone, all out blitz zone. When we're going full court man, we'll surprise you, little drop and drink, boom.
Oh, we're on
Cosby,
a roll
man.
Tonight. Oh man, Mighty Heat Zone in the house. Martel, what's up, my man? When are you all coming back on the show? We'd be happy to.
Whenever you have us, man.
Figure it out, my man. DSG Label, always great to see you as always. Look, we're gonna get into Heat talk. We're gonna talk a lot of stuff tonight. We have a whole docket. We're excited about it. We're gonna talk, just off topic. Well, it's not off topic for East Central Boys because anything's on the table for us, obviously. Vincenza is awake. and he's watching. That's cool. We're gonna talk about the drones in Jersey. I don't know if you all familiar with that. I wasn't for a while. I just started seeing some stuff. Then Tati showed me some stuff, and then now I can't escape it. So we're gonna talk about that. And we're gonna talk about other mysteries around the world that kind of capture people's imagination. I thought that'd be a lot of fun. Something off topic. But before we get into that, as you can see here, our header for tonight, Miami, obviously the Dolphins lost to the Houston Texans 20-12. It looks like it was a close game when we know it wasn't. Alex was blessed to be busy at the time not to watch that game. It was a very frustrating game. I will say, if it stands as here, he chose Miami to win. I predicted Miami to win, and it just wasn't what it was. Josh Wingate in the house, co-host of On the Clock. And it's like freaking coincidence because Josh, I just started working on the graphics and the logos and for On the Clock and started really diving into some film. So that's pretty cool. Are we going InfoWars tonight? Not as bad. No, we're not going InfoWars. But we're going to have some fun. Lakers all day in the house. What's up, my man? But anyway, me and Fitzstanza had a great post game. We really did. Very in deep. There was no, wasn't even crazy, nothing like we usually do. Evan was right on the money with a lot of his takes. Everybody was obviously very Alex, you get that raw emotion right after a game. You're pissed at everybody. You're looking to blame someone. Obviously, you see what a lot of it went towards, well, it was spread out. Let's be real. It was spread out, but we did have a couple people pop into the show on the audio part of it. To give their insight. We had a few guys and we had oh my gosh, I'm going to miss his name here. I'm trying to remember. But anyway, another guy came on and he was just talking about Tua. We just need to get another quarterback. And I actually was going to put the SG label, the Unsolved Mysteries thing, but I don't have it. I was going to put the Unsolved. I love that show. But, but anyway. But I get it. When you're that frustrated and your whole team and Tua did not have a great game, and he, they kept saying, oh, Tua's a backup. And I would say, okay, well, let's name me 32 quarterbacks better than Tua. Is there 32 better? If you want to say Tua's not elite or not not the franchise, whatever, that's a different beast. That's your opinion. But to say that, 32 guys are better than Tua or he's a backup, that's crazy. Respectfully. So look, Alex, I'm sure even though you didn't see the game, I'm sure you followed up on it. I'm sure you've read up on it. Tua, 29 of 40, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Debo got, God bless him. He got smashed and out of the game. It was a scary situation. Malik Washington was your leading receiver with 5 receptions, 52 yards. Jonnu, 9 receptions, 48 yards and a touchdown. Mozart finally got in for a lot of people's happy. Where's Mozart? He finally came in. He had 6 rushes. Alex, guess how many yards he had? 8. Devon Achin, 12 of 41. The hospital ball. Offensive line was bad. Tua was not good at all. It was just a bad game overall for Miami. So Miami now falls to 6-8. And yes, because I've seen it now, people keep saying we need Denver and the Chargers to lose both games. Miami needs to win out. And yes, then Miami could have an opportunity or could get in at that point. So the season technically is not dead. There is no debating that Tua was bad. Okay. When you watch that game, you watch this, this was the first week legitimately. And I know people say, oh, they were garbage, but whatever. Legitimately, this was the first game since Tua's been back that's been really bad. It was a bad game. Okay. Correct. There's no arguing. No one's going to argue that point.
No.
But for those who are saying we need to get rid of the quarterback, then we'll win the games or we'll win the meaningful games. No. I'm sorry. If Brad Johnson could win a Super Bowl, and I'm not saying Tua is Brad Johnson, but if Brad Johnson could win a Super Bowl, if Trent Dilfer could win a Super Bowl, Nick Foles, if a Rex Grossman of Chicago could bring the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl, I'm just throwing names out there since everybody says if Tua is that bad, okay, and those guys could win a Super Bowl, and he's better than them, Tua could do that. Okay, then who's to blame, Bobby? Well, you look at your sideline. What's going on with Mike McDaniel? Those are his guys. There was a huge play, Alex, there. I don't know if you got to see that at any point, where it was fourth down. First off, our defense stepped up. I said it. I don't want to hear anything about the defense there. Yeah, the secondary is the secondary. Javon Holland, he looks like he's packing his bags, ready to leave. It is what it is. But the defense stepped up and they played their game, and they gave Miami a lot of chances to come back and win offensively. And Miami just gave the ball up. Tua throwing the ball, underthrowing Tyreek, and Tyreek had the ball in his hands though.
Yeah,
but couldn't make that play. Those are 3 bad interceptions. I mean, real bad interceptions. And but the last one for sure is argumentative of who really is at fault. Tyreek should come down with it no matter what, even though it was underthrown.
Correct.
But your defense gave you the opportunities to win. You didn't do it. There was that fourth down play where they faked the punt and they ran 15 yards and got the first down. And McDaniel said, "Oh, we expected them to fake it. We called the right play. They just didn't execute." Now you're putting the blame on your players. Well, you're still the head coach. And so that wasn't a good look. My thing is, Tua was bad, but guys, here's the truth: he's not the problem in Miami. Let's just be real here. Okay, he's not the solution, right? He's not going to lead you. He's not going to put the team on his back and take you all the way. But you could win with him. You just got to build have a stout deep. You got to have your defense. You got to have the weapons execute on the play, and you have to write the right coaches. Fact is that right now McDaniel's wearing at his welcome. It's just week after week, you're kind of scratching your head, going, "What the hell?" And then you look at your general manager. That's where it starts. You want to start anywhere. You want to hold on to McDaniel. You want to say something about Tua. Start at your GM. This team is not built to win. You look at that offensive line and you hear, and that line keeps getting repeated, Alex, over and over again. "Oh, you're more worried about the offensive line than we are. You're more worried about the offensive line than we are." And then you watch them on Sunday and you see what the turnstile that it was just horrible. And the time that and that's why I was like, "Oh, blame the offensive line." No, because at the same time, when Tua did have time, it wasn't the best.
It was good. Yeah.
So let me just I'm gonna throw it to you. So my thing is, again, Tua was bad for sure, but he's not, just because he had that bad game doesn't mean he's the overall problem with Miami. He's not. If you want to, you go get your new GM, if it's another head coach, then you can make a decision on Tua. The fact is, he's your guy right now. So drop it. Go get a legitimate backup quarterback, so you don't have the issue of Tua going down and then you have nobody. That falls on your GM and your coach. So if maybe you say Tua is the problem, but if he's not, which I don't think you will say that, but if it's not Tua who's the problem in Miami, who is the problem?
Well, I won't put it on one particular person, but obviously it's gonna trickle down from the top down. And I'm not gonna say it's the owner, which in part he might be one of the problems. However, his blind faithfulness in regards to personnel, where he trusts one person, and that person is Chris Grier. I understand. I've never been one of these people fire Chris Grier because, for example, I do believe that I understand that Chris Grier is the face of the front office, but there's a lot of voices in that front office in regards to Marvin Allen, Reggie McKenzie, the scouts. But ultimately, the final decision comes between Chris Grier and McDaniel. We don't know exactly how it falls, but I do believe McDaniel has a say in personnel moves. I believe that's part of any agreement. I believe any coach in the NFL and any professional league should have say in personnel because he's the one coaching them. So I think by de facto that's part of the equation. I'm not going to put excuses on time and development. I think definitely coaching in regards to special teams and some area coaches, they have underperformed. Some players have taken a step back in regards to like Javon Holland. I know injuries haven't helped at times defensively. Chubb probably is not going to play the whole year. We lost Phillips. That's on defense. This team at this point you're playing a style that is suited for you. But the one thing I still can't comprehend, I understand they're taking away the top of your offense, but you have to find a way to get your weapons involved. You need to get your weapons involved. And I don't know if it comes down to McDaniel's play calling, even though it has improved this year. And like you mentioned, after Tua came back, now all of a sudden he has one bad game and people forget, or it's like null and void, the 6-7 games he's had since he returned. So those are things that I don't understand. People just judge things and make these decisions and these statements on the heat of the moment and forget the body of work. Tua is not the issue. I guarantee you, there's half. I would say half of the NFL teams right now would take Tua if they could, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback. I'm not saying he's an elite level quarterback, but I do believe he has the potential. I think he's a great quarterback, and he has the potential to be elite. Since I didn't watch the game, I'm not going to elaborate in regards to those interceptions because I don't think it would be a disservice, honestly, for me to say or give my opinion on it, because I don't know if it was timing, if it was miscommunication with the receivers, because unless you're completely off, when you're the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, you don't really have off days like that unless there's something else going on with timing and all that. Because he's shown his accuracy across the board. Now, could it be that DeMarco Ryan, the familiarity with Mike McDaniel in his offense, he disguised his defense perfectly fine to confuse Tua and to kind of show a read, and it wasn't that really a read, and it was like a makeup zone. That could be a situation as well. But what I say is, I do like, and I know Tua's injury derailed this year because of the lack of quarterback depth, and we're still not a great football team. Great football teams survive those weeks, those gaps. But I do see, for example, one positive, the way Paul played, the way Chop Robinson has been playing. So it hasn't been all misses. So I don't know if there's a certain voice in the front office that is stronger now, that is not Chris Greer, that is kind of influencing, because Marvin Allen was a great talent evaluator with the Chiefs. So when we have him on board, and Reggie McKenzie with the Raiders, people forget he was the one that built the Raiders, that Gruden Raiders, not dynasty, but that era of Raiders football. That was Reggie McKenzie as player personnel, vice president of football operations, I believe, or general manager. So there are great voices in the front office that have the experience to see talent and what talent potentially has. So I'm that's not a problem with me. Do I feel that they're gonna get another year at this, a crack at this, McDaniel and Greer? Probably. I genuinely believe they're gonna give them another year. Am I for it or against it? No, I'm neither here or there, because I'm not there every day. I'm not the players.
Let me ask you. Then let me ask you another way, though, because you say
Go
you're
ahead.
not for or against.
Yeah.
Let's say you wake up tomorrow, or let's say tomorrow, and Dolphins relieve Chris Greer of his duties, or Mike McDaniel. Do you hate it, love it, or okay, let's roll with it?
I'm saying let's roll with it. Now we better hire somebody that we know is going to be in charge of player personnel. We have a clear hierarchy, and they're bringing in their own guys. Like
that's right.
It's brand new. But now, whoever comes, the blueprint for Tua is there. If you're going to keep Tua as your quarterback, you know the offense you got to run. That's not the problem. So you understand this is what works. Now, can you adapt it a little bit and make it more diverse? Absolutely. That's where I think Jalen Wright comes in, Devon Achane that comes in. That's another year of experience, which is what they'll probably use with the not only the money. I don't think Stephen Ross cares about the extension you gave McDaniel. He'll pay for that. But I genuinely believe, due to the circumstances, the team, McDaniel will at least have another year. Whether it's with Greer or not, I don't know. What might come into play is the offseason situation of who is available. Do you want to wait another coaching cycle? You get me? So that's the thing. The window that we have, if Mike Vrabel is going to the Bears, which is speculated and most likely he will end up there, what other coach are you going to hire this cycle that you're also going to hire a new GM to work with that? So I think it's going to come down to who is available, because at the end of the day, if a great GM is available and a great head coach is available and you want to make the move, Mike McDaniel understands the business that he's in. Don't make the move and you have to live with it. And Mike McDaniel will get a job the next day as an OC or a run game coordinator somewhere in the NFL, because he is a great coach. Now, what is translating on a week-to-week basis, I know people like to talk about the toughness and about what the Dolphins aren't doing. Have we seen improvement? Yes. Have we seen consistency? No. And like you said, predictable. That's the thing. And I was surprised by that because McDaniel, I thought his first year, he was always unpredictable. Obviously, he wasn't scouted as a head coach, so people didn't know his tendencies. But I feel that even him, he's become a little bit more conservative. I don't know if it's the outside noise or being conservative with his team, but I don't feel that this is the same risky McDaniel that was first year or 2 year. And I know it's growth, and you're gonna call more run plays, and you're gonna call you're gonna call a level game. You're gonna call some runs, some passes, but there's certain parts of if you lose who you are, then you start second guessing a lot of things. I'm not saying he's doing it, but that's just what I see.
For me, with McDaniel, I'll just say this: if he were to survive this year, and he did bring it up, I think Chris Perkins asked him about if he is worried about his job at all. And paraphrasing, I don't have the quote in front of me, but basically said that he knows what his job is about, the risks that come with it, and that basically, he's not worried about it because he understands what his job is. That there's only 32 coaching jobs, head coaching jobs in the NFL. And if you're not executing, if you're not doing your job, you're quick to lose it. Yeah. So basically what I got from it was that he said, look, I can't control that. I just have to worry about coaching the Dolphins. And if I survive, I survive. If I don't, I'll figure it out. I don't think he was alluding to anything. I don't think he was trying to point out to anything that he knows. I just think he spoke truthfully that, it's the job we live, for him. Coaches come and go. You've had coaches who've won coach of the year and got fired the same season. So, for McDaniel, people, he made 2 years in a row the playoffs. Well, you got to look at the whole body of work, falling into the playoffs because you were 8-3 and then you fell off. And then, what happened when you got into the playoffs? You got bounced. We've been there, we've done that, and then you look at what this year is and the roster talent that was on this roster, on this team, and where it is right now, it's hard to come back from that or try to justify that in any kind of way. And yeah, you could say, Tua's injury. Well, then why the hell did we have this guy as our backup? It's you're the owner. I'm saying, okay, yeah, Tua's hurt. I could take that. But why weren't we prepared for that? Whose malpractice was it? Was it you or Greer who decided to keep the backups the way they were? If McDaniel were to survive, let's say either Chris Greer and McDaniel are here going into next season, or they fire the GM and they hire another GM and they say, okay, McDaniel's going to survive this year, or the GM says, you know what? No, I'm cool with rolling with him. He has to give up play calling. He could still be very involved in the offense. He could be involved in the play designing. He could be involved with Tua, but he would have to give up play calling. Leave it to someone else. Do your job as the coach. And usually that's a tall tale sign saying, okay, you're on a shorter leash now because you had to give something up. But sometimes that works. Sometimes you give it up and all of a sudden now you have a little more freedom. Now all of a sudden your offense is playing more consistent because offense has had great games throughout his tenure. But like you brought up, and Evan will remind me all the time, for me, it's always consistency. Consistency is key. That's going to win you football games. And Miami is not consistent. And it has not been consistent at all this year. It is not the same offense from last year. The offense is better with Tua, but it's still not the same offense. You don't have those big games from Tyreek. You don't have those big games from Jalen Waddle. It's really a Devon H. and Jonnu Smith offense right now. Those are your two focal points. So even though you're paying over $100 million for Tyreek and Waddle, they're the third and fourth option on your football team. So there's something going on there. And I know I saw Tyreek's tweet earlier, time for me to go coach. Where's the comma? Is it time for me to go coach, or is it time for me to go coach?
Yeah.
Either way, like Jimmy Butler, the writing seems to be on the wall in regards of Tyreek. If they fall short, do they end up moving him? I just want to tell people there, I do not believe Tyreek will get you a first round pick or even a top 5 pick. So, we could trade him and then we could top it at 5 and get a quarterback. Well, what quarterback are we talking here? Because if it's Shadir Sanders, no, there's no interest there. Cam Ward's a different beast, but really, again, if Cam Ward's your quarterback, who's your coach? Who's your GM? Are we talking Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel? Because nothing's going to change. Still the same, So the only two teams I could see realistically are Baltimore and Kansas City. If that's the case, if something happens with Tyreek, that's at the end of the year. But anyway, but for me, Alex, if it was to remain as it is, I would say for at least, besides obviously special teams, besides the other stuff, at least for the head coaching position, if McDaniel stays on, is to give up the play calling. And oh, but look, they were number one offense. Yeah, but let's be realistic. They're number one offense last year because they had a 70-point game against Denver. And then what happened afterwards? Do that math. Now they're averaging about 28 points a game, or they probably dropped off a little bit since Tua's been back. And so those are good numbers, except your offense, your rushing attack has dropped all of a sudden. But to me, it's like, okay, give up play calling, give it to Darrell or give it to someone else. Allow them to call the plays. That way you design the plays. These are still your plays, but you let someone else call it. So you focus on being the head coach and see maybe if that's enough spark to keep your offense and hopefully make it consistent. But yeah, let me see. I haven't looked at the comments. Sea Devil in the house. Great to see you, Kevin. Forgive me, guys, if I haven't seen anything yet. Trade calling is predictable. To me, at the end of the day, McDaniel and the team have regressed over the last 3 seasons. That means not perfect. There has been a regression. That I will say for sure. I agree with that. It's just the craziest thing to me that it's not even the same. It's not better. It's worse, and it's kind of crazy. O-line is average. Is the O-line a top 5 unit? Tua should be calling some plays. That's the problem. But the problems are not just there. So offensive line, continue, of course. But again, for me, with the offensive line, we all know the offensive line is what we thought they were. Aaron Brewer has done a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Okay. There is no arguing there. Aaron Brewer has been really good in his spot. However, when you look at the offensive line, Eichenberg, Carmen Jackson, starting at right tackle, he was horrible. Armstead can't stay healthy. I mean, that's not surprise. My thing was, we know what the offensive line is, and we go, oh well, that's why Tua struggled. And now, but you got to give coach an because the offensive line. Well, that's when it goes to the GM, and that's when it goes to the coach because you knew what your offensive line was. You allowed it to be this, and it's going to cost you games, and it's costing you games at the worst time. To judge Mike from Sea Devil, but to judge Mike McDaniel, it helped to see him with a bona fide running threat.
I see that next year with Jalen Wright and a chain, and it will still possibly another running back coming because that opens up everything.
He has to be committed to which he's shown this year a little bit. Obviously, he's starting to drop off from running the ball. I believe this offense would do great with a thumper. To be with a Devon Achane and even a Jalen Wright, because Jalen Wright is more he's more speed than he is kind of a power back. He's not that at all. He more like complements. He could take over that Mozart role. With Achane, you could line up at receiver. I still think a thumper at back would be great. I think that would help any offense. We saw what it did with Tennessee. Tennessee had a terrible offensive line with Ryan Tannehill. You got Derrick Henry back there with forgetting who their second back was. He was the more speed back, but they had Derrick Henry back there, and you look at what they were able to do and even get to the AFC Championship. So yes, I believe with a speed and a power back that would do wonders and give you more options. But Mike McDaniel, again, 3 seasons in, and who had a bona fide threat last year because Raheem Mostert was right behind Christian McCaffrey, and they fell off at the end. And of course, got to the playoff, but got bounced in the playoffs. So you got to go based off the body of work. And when you're looking at the body of work, and as I believe Duke had said, forgive me if I'm getting that wrong, or Kevin, the team has regressed overall. There are bright spots. Jonnu Smith, re-sign him tomorrow, extend him. He's playing at an elite level. That's somebody you do not want to lose. Devon Achane is great. You put him at third 3 wide receiver spot. You can put him at running back. You do it all. There are some bright spots to this team, but that's what's great about it is that you have that foundation there that if you were to go get another GM, if we just talk about a GM, there's a GM could come in and go, okay, yeah, it's cap, this team could be in cap hell, but we've seen even with Chris Greer that you could get out of that by renegotiating your deals or restructuring your contracts and doing that I think a GM would be okay with it. But you do have tradable pieces because if you come in here with a new look and you go, okay, I could work with the foundation, like Alex with the Heat, you look at the younger pieces, you rather trade all the older guys, because then you have a base that you could grow with. With Miami, you do have that base. You do have guys that you can grow with. Devon Achane, even with a Tua for a couple seasons, if you don't think he's the guy, you could keep him for 2 years and just build the team around him. And then when he's done, you move him out and you go get your guy, whether that's kind of like what the Rams did with Matt Stafford. But yeah, he does need to gain some muscle. Devon Achane did that. He gained weight. He gained some muscle. But they should absolutely bring a power back in next year. I absolutely believe they should. I've been pounding that table for 2 seasons. But offensive line is an issue. That's not a mystery. But again, I won't waste my breath on offensive line. I'll just tell you how garbage they are if they play like garbage. But I'm not going to waste my breath about, we need to fix it. We need to fix it. We need to fix it. I'll do my mock drafts. I'll put an offensive lineman there. But don't waste your breath, because as long as Chris Grier is the GM, don't waste your breath on O-line. Just be happy if he does do it. And he did. I mean, he got Patrick Paul, because we know what's about to happen with Armstead. But again, it's too far and far between. Offensive line should be a priority for any football team, because that's what protects your assets. And your number one asset on a football team usually is your quarterback. And Miami does not do a good job protecting their number one asset. And it's obvious when your number one asset went down and your team sucked, and it sucks to the point now where you're 6-8, hanging on false hope, then you fail at your job. So I just have to hope that Stephen Ross, with his $6 billion organization, which is crazy to me, that the Dolphins are worth $6 billion, more than a franchise like the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, one of the storied franchises in sports, like the Knicks, like, with the basketball Cowboys, whatever. The Dolphins, and they're a storied franchise for us, and they are if you look back at history. But Miami is worth $6 billion. For me, I would say, imagine if your team was a winner. Imagine if your team was on a competitive level. When you look at like the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens, where, the Chiefs have won the title. Baltimore knocks on the door. Buffalo will knock on the door. Imagine if Miami was one of those type of teams. You're worth $6 billion. You want to see how fast that grows? That's what's crazy to me. Miami has so much potential all around, but it just misses after misses after misses. And that's why Tua is not the problem. Starts with the very top. I'm not going to waste time on Stephen Ross, because Ross is the owner. Eventually he'll sell us, or he'll give the team to his daughter. He'll die and give it to his daughter. Maybe there'll be a change of manager there, but it definitely has to start with the GM. And yeah, give him his flowers. There's players that he's drafted under, and you could say, hey, maybe that was this guy or that guy. Maybe it was Reggie McKenzie. Maybe it was this guy. Sure. But who's calling the shots? At the end of the day, Alex, your employee messes up, it's on you. You're still the head honcho. You're the one who's going to get your, the head's going to roll on your end. So that's what it is. Anywho, let's talk to some Heat very quick. Let's talk Heat.
Go ahead.
Because they're so loud. Trade Dolphins. It's trade him, get rid of him, get rid of him. Well, that's not happening anytime soon, because we're still in mid-season and there's a trade deadline here. With the Heat, though, we're right in trade season. And more than ever, we're usually in conversations to look for other players. Oh, we want to get this guy. We get this guy. But now it's Miami, whose people are like, oh, we're going to get this guy. So there's a couple trades that keep coming out. Martell, let's go Heat. There you go. Today alone was the one I sent you, Alex, with Vucevic. From Chicago.
Yeah.
That somebody reported that the Heat are extremely interested in a possible trade for him. And I would assume, we talked about where it is possibly Duncan Robinson. I think you brought up Duncan and Terry Rozier in a possible thing. And then the other one, of course, is what's going to happen with Jimmy Butler. First off, guys, shout out to Miami Heat Zone and their coverage of the Miami Heat. Their content is awesome. If you guys haven't yet, you love the Heat, go check out Miami Heat Zone. They have great content. They go live. They break news. They're awesome guests week in, week out. Go like and subscribe to their channel. Hit the notifications bell. With Jimmy Butler, the Lakers are there. We've touched on the Golden State Warriors. We both have said how that made the most sense to us just because of assets wise and where it fits in. But the team that just won't die, the team that continues to get pushed by the national media, is the Phoenix Suns. And now now it's Bradley Beal. Well, Bradley, the Heat got Jimmy's interested in Phoenix. Phoenix is interested in Jimmy, but Bradley has to say his no trade clause. And I'm looking at it going, do you think that's it? Do you think it's just Bradley waiving his no trade clause and then he comes to Miami? Do you not think that Miami might go, no, we don't want that contract, and no, we don't want Bradley? And I'm not hating on Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is a very good, great player. But Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. First off, that deal is a killer. I don't like his contract, but I don't see the fit. I don't see it. I would rather get a Warriors package over a Phoenix Suns package. Now, if you're telling me, oh, draft picks. Am I gone?
There you go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So I will continue this until I'm done with my point. Now, if we're talking draft picks, if you could say, which they don't, they own one draft pick. I think they have the rights to one.
Yeah, 2031.
It's a non-starter for me. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. And one thing that I think people forget is that we had the opportunity to acquire Bradley Beal before he moved to Phoenix. And the number one thing that was a holdup was he wasn't willing to waive his no trade clause. And that was a non-negotiable. We were not going to acquire him if he did not waive his no trade clause, because that ties your franchise. The reason the Suns did that trade is they went all in. They went all in with the group. And at the time, they went all in for Kevin Durant to pair with Booker. And then they had the opportunity to acquire Beal. So they made the trade with Chris Paul and a few of the young guys. One thing that I see, and it's always happened over and over, is the same thing that I saw with the Lakers when they traded Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart. When now the rumors are coming that the Lakers are looking to reacquire Lonzo Ball. They're looking to possibly reacquire. It wasn't Ingram. It was Kyle Kuzma. Some of these teams, they jumped the gun, okay? And the way the landscape of the NBA is right now, like the Suns are a team that is over the second apron. They cannot aggregate salaries. That means that in order to trade for Jimmy, you have to trade only one player, and it has to match up contract-wise. Now, the only player you have, it's either you're trading Booker, Durant, or Beal. If you're trading me Durant, I would do the deal without a second thought, no problem. If you're trading me Booker as well, I would do the deal, second thought, no problem. Are those realistic? No. Who do the Suns want to offload? Bradley Beal. And I'm not saying Bradley Beal is not going to be an asset. Bradley Beal will be an asset when his contract is expiring. But if I'm mistaken, his contract is not expiring now. I'll check. But I believe his contract is an expiring deal the following year. So that's when he becomes an asset, which I don't know if Miami would take that upon themselves, because they're really focused on 2026. The whole NBA is focused on free agency for 2026. That is when a lot of pieces can move. So with Jimmy, I always knew they were going to take the approach of what the Clippers did with Paul George. And don't get me wrong, Jimmy this year has been available. Jimmy this year is playing at an MVP caliber. I don't know if you saw the Pistons game. Oh, and you just mentioned to me, you saw it with your son.
Yes.
That was the most efficient game Jimmy Butler has played in the Heat uniform in a regular season. He's only had 2 graded games above what he did. And we talked about this in the offseason. And I told you, I'm like, Jimmy Butler needs to have an evolution within this team where his role becomes main facilitator, which is why I brought up Duncan Robinson. They've started Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Jimmy, Highsmith, and Bam. Jovic actually got playing time. He got hurt. Hawkins has regressed a little bit this year. I don't know if he's hurt or whatnot. Pella looks amazing. Drew Smith has stepped up. So the nucleus is there. Khalil Ware should be getting more minutes down the line now that you traded Thomas Bryant. So the writing's on the wall there. They have a great pipeline of youth with Keshad Johnson, Josh Christopher, Isaiah Stevens. I do believe Drew Smith will probably get one of the standard contract, the other standard contract, which they have to finalize it within 2 weeks of getting down to 13, because no NBA team can carry only 13 players on the standard contracts for more than 2 weeks. So that situation will be handled. I don't know if it's going to be another move. Maybe they're creating space. But teams are going to look into a Duncan Robinson. He's on a 1-year, $19 million deal. So he becomes an asset. He's playing lights out, so he can command a nice return. Those are the situations you start seeing. Do I think the Heat are going to make that move? I highly doubt it. I do believe they might move like a Robinson. They might move a Burks, but you want to keep Burks for insurance. So there'll be some moves before the trade deadline. But this whole talk about Jimmy, the fact that nothing has really changed from the offseason, he has now requested a trade. I don't know who's pushing this agenda. I generally don't. I don't know if Jimmy is trolling with the shoes, he's trolling with the hair, if it's kind of like the agent is putting this face up that, oh, I don't know who's leaking this and he's really doing it. But you can say any player go around the NBA and it's like, oh, if he were to be moved, my preferred destinations are such and such. I've never seen such a story for a non-story in regards to nothing really has changed since the season started. So we don't know where this report came out of. The timing of it to me was a little suspicious. That he was starting to play well. This usually comes from another team leaking information they talked about in the offseason, not necessarily at this moment. So the way it's portrayed, it's a little off. As there's turmoil in Miami, and we haven't seen anything in regards to Jimmy here locally, where he's gone against the Heat. He said anything about his coaching staff, about his players. On the contrary, you kind of see him cohesive and happy, out there. So is the contract, we knew it was going to loom this whole season. And Jimmy already stated he's not going to sign an extension, and Miami's not going to offer an extension. So realistically, you will most likely go into the offseason, and Jimmy Butler will opt out. There's only one team right now that could offer him a full max, and that's the Brooklyn Nets.
Yep.
There's other teams that might get under the cap space, San Antonio, Houston, but every other team, every other scenario that they painted out there, Dallas, Golden State, Phoenix, they need Heat cooperation to get it done. So that's why the Heat are not going to be operating, or they're not just going to make a move to make a move. People don't realize this. And his agent is very familiar with Pat Riley. They have great respect for each other, and they understand how they operate. So this is just a lot of noise right now. I'm pretty sure it's going to continue to increase until the trade deadline in February. So we just got to see what happened. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if Miami gets an offer that they like, they'll pull the trigger if they have to. But I highly doubt that they're going to be trading anybody in season at the caliber of Jimmy Butler. It might be more of in the offseason sign and trade if they can't come to an agreement. And there's still a possibility that Jimmy signs an extension here. Reworks outside of that final year, is a more cap-friendly deal, but still gets his money in the long term. So there's a lot of moving parts. So we just got to see how it plays out. I just want to see they're really catching a stride now. And Miami are playing still, even though we lost against Detroit, they're still playing their best basketball that they've played all season. So they're getting comfortable. It's unfortunate that you have to deal with it, but it's part of the profession. So, but it is telling, for example, that Miami has not come out and squashed any rumors or said we're not trading Jimmy.
Yep.
I know the owner retweeted what Bernie Lee tweeted out. So they are on the same page with what they want to do, but I don't think Miami would, as an organization, shut anything down, because realistically, no offer has been made. No request has been made by Jimmy's part or his representation. So it's a non-story. You don't really have to comment on stories because you kind of give validity to the noise. So I do believe the Heat are taking that approach that, like, we're above this. And ESPN has always covered Miami the same way. They don't have a good relationship with the Heat. Shams doesn't have a good relationship with the Heat as well. He's more of a player. So the Heat, what I love about them is that they're very tight with their local beat reporters. So the people that actually have firsthand knowledge of that is like the Ethan Skolnick's from 5 Reasons Sports, Dan Lebitard, Ira at times too, Barry Jackson. So those are the people that are connected with Miami. So when they report it, I take it full heart, because I know it's true.
Let me ask you, the Vucevic deal possibly from if would you be up for that? If bring him to the Heat?
Absolutely. And it sucks because I love the effect of Terry Rozier off the bench if he was Scary Terry. But with the personnel that we have, he's kind of become like a non-factor. That does not mean it won't change if there's any other moves, but you can use his contract to acquire of Vucevic. Now I will be intrigued if they also offer Lonzo Ball and Vucevic for like a Duncan Robinson and a Terry Rozier. I don't know if we might pull the trigger on that, or we might want to keep Duncan, because honestly, this offense legit runs on Duncan. It's like Duncan is your number one trigger there. The way he plays with Bam and the way he plays off opposite of Hero, that's what clicks. So I don't know, but I definitely will be down to add a Vucevic, because that gives you a low post presence as well, and it opens up Bam even more to be free defensively, offensively, and you still have a veteran presence where Kevin Love, realistically, he's going to be taking a break pretty much anytime soon. He becomes a locker room presence, but
Yeah.
Khalil Ware needs to be getting these minutes. I understand we don't see it day to day, and there's a reason he isn't playing. Kind of like Jovic wasn't playing in the beginning. They're still raw. They still need to develop. But I think there are key moments that you might see increased playing time with him.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it continues to play out. Obviously with the way the season is, and the Heat are getting on a roll, which is really cool to see, except for that Pistons game twice. But again, the noise won't quiet down until after the deadline. And I think the only difference is with what once was and what is now with Miami is that, like you said, is they're not killing the noise. They're not doing it. Usually they would. Usually come out and say, no, we're not interested in this, or we're not going to do this.
Exactly.
We like, but now they're so. I think there's two truths to that, like what you were saying there. It's like, hey, we're above this. We're not going to even acknowledge it. F it. Let's keep going. The other one is well, when there's smoke, there's fire. We're not listening. We're listening.
Of course.
And because you don't, if there's a deal that's going to help you win, or a deal where you could get a couple players and you regain all your draft picks.
Yeah.
Now you're playing with the golden goose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because
I
do right by Jimmy. You do right by Jimmy. If Jimmy wants to go somewhere and you can negotiate that, this organization is Class A. They're not going to do what Portland did to Dame Lillard, even though Milwaukee's improving. They've actually proven me wrong. Milwaukee's improving this year, but they'll accommodate Jimmy as well in that regard.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not against the future chick deal. I know Lonzo Ball. I know that there was a report that he could be going to Charlotte to join his brother LaMelo.
That'll be a fun combination.
Yeah. But I don't hate the Lonzo Ball thing. I just worry about his health. But we'll see how it plays out. It's interesting. That's something that's really cool. And maybe we'll get the goons back together and we'll hit more on a more full Heat episode. Again, I do have the music.
The one that's heating up is Zach LaVine. The Nuggets supposedly are in on him, and they're aggressively. The Nuggets have to reshape that roster. That roster's aging, and they lost shooting. They lost all shooting, and Michael Porter's underperforming. So that will be a nice combo. It's going to be interesting. I do believe this trade deadline is going to be active, because I think still the key to this deadline, Bobby, are the Pelicans. The Pelicans have the possibility to reshape the NBA landscape based on what they do with Zion, with Ingram.
I was surprised because they said everyone's available except for like one or two players.
Yeah,
and it's not the players I expected.
Yeah.
So first off, I am all like, I would not hate a Brandon Ingram in Miami or a Zion, really, because I think Zion in Miami would be a beast. But Brandon Ingram, if that was a possible deal, I'd be down with that. Let me make sure I have. Okay. So moving on. First off, everyone's still in the comments there. Appreciate you guys all watching these Century Boys straight out of Hialeah. We were just talking Miami Heat. We talked some Miami Dolphins. I see you guys are going back and forth on the Dolphins. Who would you hire as a GM? I will say shout out to Will Patron of 305 Sports Now. He will, that will be on the docket tomorrow on his channel. We will talk about potential GMs if Miami was to push out Greer. Who is a GM or GMs that we'd be interested in or want to see, and possible coaches that if somehow, some way, Mike McDaniel was let go, who are the coaches you would like to see to be on that wish list? So that's a very interesting talking point. So those who are talking about it, tune into 305 Sports tomorrow. Will Patron will discuss it and go from there. No, Sea Devil, not Louis Riddick. No, I don't hate on Louis Riddick. but I'm not into those TV GMs, that's just me. That Mike Mayock. I love Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock is awesome. Love his draft talk, but you saw what happened in Vegas. Of course, it was Vegas at that time. It was messed up, but I Mike Mayock. See, that's my point. Like, I'm not looking for Louis Riddick. I want a guy in it for not to spoil. I would want a guy. First off, if you go with let's say Mike McDaniel, you decide that Mike McDaniel's going to stay. Do you go with a GM familiar with a Mike McDaniel and his style of offense, or his style? Just you look at the San Francisco 49ers, Adam Peters is one of those guys. Do you look at maybe the Falcons or the guy like Thomas, I'm forgetting his name, Dimitrov, the former Falcons GM?
Yeah.
There's guys like that are possible, or do you go, if you let go of McDaniel with a Chris Greer, then that's when your search kind of broadens a little bit, because now you go get a guy that you say, okay, I'm giving you the reins. You're going to pick your head coach. You're going to go with the culture and roll with that. And so that's where I go. I'm not hating on Louis Riddick. I'm not in regards of like, I'm just saying, man, I would look at other people. I'm not into the TV GMs,
Bob, now that you say that, what is the most enticing job for you right now that is available currently? Because other jobs will probably be available. But what do we think? We're talking between Bears,
currently.
Jets. Yeah, currently.
So, first off, I think Joe Douglas got a raw deal in New York with the Jets, and I hate the Jets, and I don't think that's a mystery.
They did them wrong.
I hate them the most. But you bring in Aaron Rodgers. First off, what he was building there in regards of, you look at the players he was putting together. You think of Sauce Gardner and Wilson, and you look at the roster he was putting together. Minus Zach Wilson, and he was starting young. He had his coach. He had a young coach. He had his guys, but you bring in Rodgers and you're handcuffed at this point. And if you don't, and I remember, Alex, I said it before the year, and my prediction came true, was this team's going to blow up before the season's over, and it blew up bad.
Yeah.
And so the Jets are not a bad organization to no, CW, I saw it. It's all good, man. I just read your comment. That's why I said your name. But it's okay. I mean, everybody can have an opinion of who they want as a GM or who they would be interested in.
Of course.
I'm just speaking for myself. I mean, when the whole Mike McDaniel talk was coming and everybody's like, oh, look at his picture. I'm like, I'm not really into Mike McDaniel. But, Alex, but
I was into McDaniel.
It's all good. It's all good.
I thought he was innovative and all that. So it's part of the growth.
It's part of the growth. It's all good. I became a defender of Evan still gets on me.
Oh, McDaniel,
coach. Yeah, you got to give guys an opportunity, man. So if Riddick was to be the GM, I'd be standing behind Riddick. You got to give him an opportunity, maybe.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just saying, I don't know, man. I'm not really in for that. But the Bears' job is not unattractive at all either. You got Caleb Williams. You saw his talent. You got Roma Dunze. You got some talent on that defense. It's a young football team. The only issue with that is that you are, not really you got a young guy, but the problem is, because I'm talking about GM. I'm sorry. If you're talking about head coach, if you're a coach, if I'm a coach, I'm looking at the Bears, just because if I go to New York, you don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back. And if Aaron Rodgers leaves, then the Jets become an option, because the young foundation that's there. You go get you have the ability to go get your own quarterback, whether that's via the draft or a trade. That's more attractive because now you got your guy. Where in New York, you don't have in Chicago, you don't have your guy. You didn't draft him, but here's the thing: he's only in his second year, and now he becomes your guy. And
you gotta like Caleb.
You still have veteran pieces that you could move, and you could possibly add draft picks. Like you can. So to me, if you go in between one or the other, it really depends on what happens with the quarterback position in New York. But if I had to choose between the one or the two, I'd go to Chicago, just because of the foundation they have already to put your blueprint on there. In regards of coaching, GM. Somebody was saying the other night, if the Dolphins fired you, no GM's gonna want to come here. It's not an attractive job. No, I don't believe that's true
at all.
I don't believe that's true.
I think it's a very attractive job.
I can understand if you're looking at the cap situation, you're going, but you have a lot of NFL guys and even people, the cap space is a fictional thing. Yeah, you're kind of limited, but you could restructure. And to me, you look at those big contracts. You look at a Tua, not Tua, excuse me, a Tyreek or a Waddle or whomever. You go, oh man, those are trade bait. That's trade bait. If you're a GM and you see your foundational pieces, a Devon Achane, a Tua, a Chop or whatever, I'm going, okay, this ain't bad because I could work with this. Okay, Tyreek, let's get you to a contender. I'll get a couple draft picks for you. I free up some space. All right, let's move this guy. All right, Armstead, retire. You're gone. Okay, I got some guy. Now it's not such a bad job, and now you got some good draft picks. You don't have to rush into. And this is the thing: if you're a GM, I'm just talking for Miami, even for those who don't want Tua to be the quarterback. Actually, if you're a GM, you're going, okay, I have Tua at quarterback. I don't have to rush to do that right now because really, there's no Archie Manning in this draft. I love Cam Ward. I'm down with Cam Ward, but I'm just saying, there's no Arch Manning in this draft. There's no any kind of special really guy at that point. You could sit back and say, okay, we got Tua. Let me use this draft to go draft a left tackle or go draft some offensive linemen or go get a D tackle like that Mason Graham out of Michigan or that safety Malachi Starks. Maybe, now you're starting to build your foundational pieces. That's where the job's attractive. DSG label, there's no such thing as loyalty in business. I understand you're saying, but
they just got new contracts.
Let's just be realistic.
Right now.
Yeah, no, they gave
you said this year's draft for the Dolphins, it's enticing for a lot of people because any GM right now will be salivating. We have a lot of decent picks this year, a lot of compensatory picks that we have. So we're gonna have around 7, 8 picks that we're gonna make this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think we're already at 7 picks. Okay. Probably get 2 more, but they're probably they're not going to renegotiate. They may restructure. Restructure is a different thing than renegotiate. Negotiate is still what it is, but restructure is where you go, okay, I take less money salary, but you give me a bigger bonus, and then you go, and then you maybe extend that year. Sea Devil. So we did talk about that with Robinson and Paul. I think Chop Robinson was a very good pick. I liked him. I was probably one of the few people on here defending that pick. I liked it. I think he's done really well. I think Paul's good. I know, for instance, Alex, talking earlier about the other guys within that organization who are part of those draft classes or draft picks. Who's really, is there anybody else calling? Yeah, sure. I'm sure there's other guys that, hey, man, this guy, Patrick Paul, I believe he can do it because you got to think about the scouts. You got to think about this. But he is in charge of making those picks. He's the one who has to say. Who has that final say. So, yeah, you got to give him the credit. Credit is credit due. You still have to go give him the blame, though, for the missed picks. And you got to give him the blame for the mismanagement of the offensive line and the backup QB position. So, it's really a give and take. Jimmy Johnson didn't make it happen here. Nobody's going anywhere, but if we did, it would have to be someone proven. No more project. Project is the reason we're in this position. I was before it, and I'll say it again. I want someone who's a veteran. If you make a move, get a veteran guy. But anyway, again, guys, we'll talk more about this as the season goes on, the off season, especially if a move goes down. But right now, Alex is a little bored, so let's make it interesting. Let's get his blood flowing. He's a dick. He is yawning on live on camera.
That's just being sick, man. That's not you.
Yeah, that's being sick of my shit. Okay, let's something's got my attention. First off, I want to say, when I was growing up, one of my favorite shows, I guess you call me an old soul. I think Alex is the same way. We're old souls. I mean, my wife calls me an old man now, but when I was younger, I wasn't really, there was stuff I liked that fit my age group, but I was a huge fan of All in the Family, the Jefferson, the Golden Girls. I was all of that shit. Loved watching that. And then I still do. I put it on now just for nostalgic reasons. Unsolved Mysteries or Robert Stack. Yeah. That music is so freaking creepy, but it's so awesome. And in the stories, whether it was ghosts, aliens, kidnappings, murder, whatever, it was just so cool. And so I love the series on Netflix right now. And Alex knows that I'm into the ghost and different paranormal stuff and all this stuff and getting all into that stuff. So it was crazy to find out that there was stuff going on that I had no real clue that was happening. Until, one day I saw a couple alerts. I was like, okay, big deal. We see drones. Okay, probably some guy doing it from his house. And then you find, then Tati starts sending me stuff. She goes, dude, are you seeing this? And, and all this whatnot. And then you start finding out, no, man, this is bigger. The government is kind of afraid to talk about it or not talking about it. They're being very sparse about it. There's stuff going there. Are they coming out of the ocean? There's videos of these drones going in the ocean. So it's very interesting, and it's really capturing the imagination and the attention of people around the country. And of course, you start going, damn, like, what is this? And you hear different conspiracy theories and whatever. And I love, how people get really into it. And there's conspiracy theories that I've never heard of that seems like everybody else knows about. And I'm pretty, Project Blue or whatever the hell it was. And it's like, God dang, dude, it's like, you guys have everything for anything. But what's crazy is that they don't know what these are or why they're there. They're trying to figure it out. Is it from another country? Is it from a UFO? Is it UFO? Why is it coming out of the ocean or going into the ocean? They don't, like, how do you not track where it's coming from? Like, that's my thing. If you don't see it go up, it goes down, it goes back to where it goes. And that's probably true, Duke. You're probably right too. And that's the mystery, but they haven't really come out and said, okay, guys, it's us. It's just like, oh, we're trying to figure it out. The senators don't want to talk about it. The senators are a little annoyed with it. You're seeing that's the thing. And you're true. You're right there as well. If it was a threat, they would be that, they probably would say, hey guys, let's be don't shoot our drones. Don't point lasers at the drones. So it's very interesting. So Alex, I don't know how much you've seen of this. I know you and I are sort of alike on regards of like world stuff, because we're kind of like, F it, forget all that crap. Let's worry about what we're doing here. But how much have you seen about did you become aware of the drone stories up in New Jersey and New York? And what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I became aware when you told me this morning, or when you texted me, because once again,
you are way out of the loop. Okay.
I haven't watched TV in 2 weeks again. I watched the Whitney documentary again. I watched this magic moment. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's not amazing how her career was kind of derailed at the end, but Whitney is still, to me, the greatest female voice that has ever existed.
She was my favorite growing up, dude. I wrote a letter to her, fan letter. When I was going through, when I was younger, I had, my mother always told me the story that when I, was going through my seizures and whatever, she would always play My Heart Will Go On. And I used to love listening to Whitney Houston. And so I love Whitney Houston. I agree with you. I think she's the greatest singer
voice of all time.
The greatest singer, male, female, whatever. Her voice, that's why it's so sad when you heard her at the end, towards the end of her life, her voice. And it's like, God, dude, but wow, dude never watches the news.
No, I really don't, man. I've by the time I come home after practice, after film, I watch, like my Jamila was making fun of me. Not making fun of me. She was just making an observation. She's like, damn, you just watch documentaries. And I'm like, yeah, I'm right now, I'm into interesting things that I like to learn about. And it's not like I don't have the time. Like, I genuinely, sometimes I don't have the time, but I don't like to invest it into like local things going on. Obviously, I know world news and I follow certain things, but there's moments that I just disconnect. It might be a little egotistical, I guess, in my part as a human being, but I'm like, there's really nothing I can do about it. Like, those drones are not going to affect my life right now. I have no idea where they're coming from. I don't have any recollection of ever being worried about it.
Oh my gosh,
they're here.
What is this?
And look, we've talked about this since I was young. I wanted to be an astronaut. You know how I feel about the infinite of what the world is, what humanity is. I think that people that actually genuinely believe that we're the only ones out here, it's a pretty ignorant statement, because we don't even know the limits per se of our own solar system. So there are a lot of things that I believe, even as a kid growing up, in the spiritual realm, in the psychological realm, metaphysics. So do I know the nature of them? No. Am I intrigued? Am I going to start looking into it a little bit more? Yeah, I am going to start looking into it after this podcast, because are they spotted in one region, Bobby? Is it just one region?
New York and New Jersey. Well, actually, there's been some sightings now in Tennessee. There's been some sightings now in Tennessee.
Like going south.
Yeah.
And now you see, now you started like, is it copycat things? Are people
Yeah, is
over
it
exaggerating?
copycat? Yeah, 100%. And but that's the mystery. And
That's what
again,
sucks.
it's right. You think, oh man, obviously it has. People, you can't trust the government.
Yeah,
In regard, it's definitely the government. Oh no, it's global actually. Okay, I
globally.
haven't seen where there's
Well,
globally, but
this one now, if you say it's globally, to me, one of the alarming things is AI. Um, Now it's taking over where where it could have a mind of its own. I don't think people understand this. And Einstein said it. What we have to worry about it is when artificial intelligence takes over humanity. And we have become solely dependent on artificial intelligence. Even our own essays, our meetings, ChatGPT.
yeah.
We are slowly, and that's the way you remove the condition. I think that's one of the ways you remove who a human being is, because we were the only logical processing information kind of animal where we can process something, use common sense, and not just be animalistic. Now we have something that's created by man that can create its own language, rewire itself some way, shape, or form. And that's why you're in your house and you mention, oh, I want to go visit, Niagara Falls. And all of a sudden, when you open up Instagram, when you open up X, you're getting a bunch of Niagara Falls pictures,
Oh,
tickets. And I'm
dude, it
like,
just happened. Tati and I were talking about something totally about a certain product, something. And I said, man, I was researching this, and I'm thinking maybe want to. Oh, you could do that in HSA, and all of a sudden, I start getting alerts and emails about that stuff, and it's like, damn, dude,
like it's,
you can't. It
and
is
we've done
true.
this. We've done this to ourselves. We've allowed this. Why? Because it's, and whoever's listening, they'll probably shut us down. We have opened up the possibility, and it's always used with commodities. So now what do you have? You have a device that is everything to you: contacts, cell phone, calculator, banks, everything's electronic. If you notice, everything we have in our lives is somehow, way, shape, or form with electronics. People don't have paper trails anymore. You go to your bank, I guarantee you have probably every single one of our listeners, they still don't keep a checkbook in regards to how much they spent. They just look at their bank account and they see the last receipts that come in and out. And
Yeah,
it's funny because my mom still keeps a checkbook every time she spends something, even if it's a debit purchase or anything. She
that's the
still writes
best
it
way to
down.
do it. Really
It's the
is.
best
That's a
way.
lost art.
And I see kids nowadays, and we've become so, it's going to come to a point, to me, in my opinion, that you're not going to know the difference between a robot and an actual human being, because it's going to be it's going to be to the point where you become a slave of something that is superior in nature to you. And type of like Planets of the Apes, now a bunch of movies that are come out, a bunch of series. Now that's the part that, when the art form starts portraying these things, that's when you know there's changes in everyday life, because art always is of your time. So now you see a bunch of movies, AI robots living in the house. I forgot what series it was that Megan Fox is an AI robot.
Oh, I was
and
just to
and
bring that up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a reality, man. And there's people that are gonna
Yeah, but would you hate
buy.
that though? Would you be against that though?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but
I know what the story's about.
of course,
Like
of course.
I don't trust you.
Yeah,
Okay, I
but
do now.
I do know. And there's things that, if you
But no,
remember,
yes.
my pay per view when we were in WEWF, it was Area 51, because I was fascinated by that.
Oh,
And
yeah, no, it was WEWF. World Extreme
WEWF, yes,
Wrestling
sorry,
Federation.
World
Yes.
Extreme Wrestling Federation. It was Area 51, and Area 51 is still one of the most guarded places.
Like when I was the
Oh
14-time
my
world
God, look at
champion.
this!
Let's go. Let's
This
go.
man, this man writing his own
14 times right
storylines.
here, baby. What does that say? What's it say right here? Robert Michaels. Does it say D-bomb?
I will
Oh no,
still,
it doesn't.
I will still always remember when I proposed, when we were debating who should be the first undisputed champion. At that time, remember WWE merged. I'm like, all right, let's just put all our names in a bucket or in a hat. I forgot what we did, and we'll
It was a
pick it
hat.
so that way
It was
no
a
one's
hat. Yeah.
upset. It was a hat. No one was upset.
Yeah.
I still remember your face when I pulled out my name. And I forgot who pulled out the name. D-Bomb. You're like,
I
motherfucker.
was cool with it. I didn't mind losing. That was fun, dude. Happy
I
60th
know.
birthday to Stone Cold. Yeah. Happy
Oh,
birthday.
goddamn, Stone Cold
60
60 years
years
old.
old, bro. 60 years old.
Jesus Christ, man. What is Jesus? Well, I'm 37, bro. You're 36.
That's fucking.
It's
I know, dude.
insane, bro.
I
It's
know.
insane. We're 3 years away. Well, you're 4 years away from 40. I'm starting thinking about like, goddamn, 40. I'm
Dude,
just gonna
20 years
pull up
away from 60.
from 60, man. That's insane.
Yeah, we
That is
old. Yeah, we are.
insane.
It's crazy, man.
But
But
you don't feel it. You don't feel it. I only feel it like
no, there's. I
usually
tell
after I play a
Tati,
game or
there's time.
something.
Even though your body starts to give you signs here and there with different things. I tell Tati, it's like, damn. Sometimes I still think, that I'm still that I or I'm not that I still think, but sometimes like I'll go, oh man, that was like 5 years ago, or man, I remember
It's
when I
like,
used to do this.
yeah.
And
And you're
then
like
I go,
20 years ago.
holy crap, that's almost 20 years ago. That's not 5 or 3 years ago. And then it hits you. And then
I
it
told
hits
my
you.
dad. I told my dad this before we came live. We were talking about some other topic. And I'm like, I still remember when you told me after you turn 15, life will fly by. So it's like appreciate the moments, enjoy every moment, and it doesn't really hit you when you're 14 and
Habits really.
15.
Yeah.
But it's legit. I can still
Well,
remember us being 15.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, and it does. I remember when people say, "Oh, when when you have kids, time's gonna fly,"
It's
and
true.
like, "Oh,
It's true.
but no, it really does, dude. Like, got a 12-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old. I'm going, what the hell, dude?
For you, for example, you have Ellie, so you still have a baby.
Yes,
But
yeah,
when you realize you don't remember vividly Audrey being a baby anymore because it's already so like and I'm like, wow. And I'm like, holy shit. And I was thinking about I was even going through, I'm like, I don't remember AJ being 4. Like I remember moments,
no,
but
dude.
I don't
And
remember vividly. I'm like, holy
how
shit.
depressed do you get though? For me,
It's insane, man.
it's like you go with your son, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just him and Audrey are about
Yeah.
a year apart.
A year apart.
But
Yeah.
like Audrey is 12 now, and I'm looking at Tristan and I'm looking at Ellie, and I was saying even for Tristan who's 7, I'm going and I look at Ellie and I remember, and you start to
Tristan is 7. I thought he was 8. He's 7.
He's 7.
Okay.
I hope I got that right. My dude, my brain is fried. I can't remember. So
yeah.
Tati just yelled at me because I said 2 and Ellie's 3. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Ellie.
It's what it is, dude. My 7. Okay,
7.
good.
You got it. Perfect.
I got nervous. But
I mean, you're gonna get 1 right, 2 right.
I gotta get
2 out
1
of 3
right.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
No, it's not.
60% of your kids.
Yeah, but anyway, it's crazy, but it is true though. You start to go and you go, especially as a father or as a parent, you go, God, did I really cherish those times?
Exactly.
Take a second to enjoy those moments. You got to remind yourself that you did, and you look back and you say, for me at least, but like even now, like I joked around. I picked up Audrey the other day, because we're like, I picked her up and then Ellie was like, hey, I was like, what? That's my baby too, whatever. But but then you go, damn, when is the last time going to be the last time? There was this saying that talks about Alex. I'm sure you saw it, and like it's like a meme or whatever. But it's like, there was one time that you were playing with your friends, and you guys put your bikes away, and you didn't realize that was going to be the last time.
The last time, yeah.
And like it's like, holy dude. And you
usually,
go back, when was it?
Usually it's like the last summer of high school. Like around there because you start working, you go off to college. But I don't remember. I don't remember at all.
When really was the last time, and that's what's crazy. I mean, I guess that's the good thing is you keep that youthful energy or that youthfulness.
Absolutely.
To you. Let's go play ball or something. Let's go shoot the shit, and whatever.
Yeah, now you hang out. Now you hang out.
Now it's a hangout,
Yeah, now you don't play. Now you hang out. I mean, we still play a few times, but it's a hangout. It's chilling.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you play with your kids, like I played basketball with my son yesterday. Today I twisted my hip a little bit. I say, oh my gosh, dude, that hurt like a mother. Because he went to try to juke me and I went like that, and like my hip turned a certain way, my bad hip, and I felt like, oh God, I almost like fell. Like I just like, Dad, stop. I go, no, I gotta walk it off because if I go in the house limping, your mother's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, let's just go.
It's
your fault, son. It's your fault.
Yeah. Blame yourself. What? No. But anyway, yeah, no, time goes by fast, and I agree with you. This universe is so huge that if you think it's just us, I think that's crazy, and I didn't tell you that damn right.
Oh shit! Oh damn! No, not sure. I forgot she was listening. Yeah.
Wait until you get a grandchild. The 12-year-old will be an adult in less than 10 years. 10 years
Yeah.
will be, dude. It's already like that, man. You're going. I say she's going 12 on 22, and just because when I say that, I mean it's. these kids know so much more than we did at our age, or they grow so much faster with the information that they're processing,
Yeah.
that now you got to be, that's why, like, for me with my children, I'm very, especially my oldest one, I tell her, hey, you're gonna, in school and life, you're gonna see things or hear things, and you try to protect them, of course, from the
Yeah.
information that they're getting.
Yeah.
But you can't be naive that they're gonna be, so I don't play that whole stupid thing where I say that respectfully for those who are like that, but I still say it like that, the stupid thing of, oh, you talk to your mother, or, oh, don't talk to me about
No,
that,
you
or, oh,
can't.
there's
You can't. You
no,
can't.
I told her, I said, honey, you're gonna hear things or see things that might be confusing, or you might not know, and you're one. I said, don't ever be afraid to come talk to me about it. If you have something,
Yeah.
or you see something that's weird or confusing, and you treat everybody with respect, no matter who they are or what they are or what they, but if it's something that you're not, you come talk to me, and I'll be my best to answer those questions for
Yeah.
you, and try to be open. And thank God, the truth is Audrey's very open about it. Audrey will, I'll be sitting by myself outside, and Audrey will come and, hey, Dad, can I talk to you? And then she'll start telling me, she goes, but I think this is weird. And we'll have an open conversation. And my thing for my children always, no matter even if you think somebody is weird, or they're doing something weird, or they look whatever, you always treat them with respect. You treat them the way you want to be treated, and then, as long as you protect yourself, and, keep yourself, but just come talk to me, or come talk to your mother. And, we try to be open to that. They open up about until
Yeah,
16
that's
or
true.
where it begins.
That's true.
Well, it
Yeah.
already kind of starts, dude. She keeps herself in her room.
Is she private? Is she private a lot with that?
She
Does she
closes
have
her
any
door.
boyfriend or any boys that she likes that you know of? Does she
No,
tell you
no
anything like
boyfriend.
that? No, she doesn't
Boys,
tell you.
no. There's boys. There's boys that she likes for sure.
Oh, okay.
There's there's Drew or Andrew from the Willy Wonka play. He was Willy
Oh,
Wonka.
okay.
She really liked him. There's boys that she likes, and we talk about that because she's open with me with it. But no, there's no boyfriends. But no, but now she's starting. What she does now is she likes to go in her room, shut the door, and be comatose into her bedroom. And so you got to, where's Audrey? And then you got to get her, take her headset off, turn that shit, come out here. Only 1 hour screen time. What? So, but it's fun, dude. I don't want people to think that I'm not like, oh, I can't, I don't want to look forward to it. No.
This is very accurate.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to all stages of life. The only thing I don't look forward to is losing that version, because you if you really sit and think about it, man, you start to miss the kid they were. You miss that baby. You miss holding that baby, or that baby depending on you for everything and loving you and all that. That's the crazy thing. Right now my son, well, all my kids really, they still all run to me when I open the door. Me love, even my Audrey, she'll come out with her headset, give me that, and then she goes right back to her room. Not that I asked for it, they just come. If she doesn't, then I'll give her hell. Like, I'll go to her and go, really? Who am I? What am I, trash to you? And she goes, oh, she comes running up. But there's nothing like your children running up to you and being excited when you're home and they want all your attention. Dad, and he starts telling me about everything. Let's go play outside. I'm like, dude, just give me a break. Hold on a second. But there's a time where that's gonna stop, and you're gonna be like, oh man, that's what I'm scared of. But it is what it is. You just got to raise them right, or best you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the drones. Obviously this is not the first. I do, brother. I do. You got to enjoy every moment. Count your blessings. That's what I try to do every day. There's a lot to be miserable about in this world, or your life. There's a lot to look down and go, oh, this boo-hoo, this and boo. And I get it. I'm not shaming anybody, but there's a lot to be miserable about. But you know what? There's a lot more to be happy about in your life. Count your blessings. For me, every day, the most important thing in my life is my children, being their dad and enjoying every moment with them and all that. And, that is rich beyond, money could be tight. Life could be tight. Life is not easy right now. Truth to be told, going through things, but, the kids are the blessing, man. And so that's the only thing I always tell people, when they're going through their stuff is, I get it. You're allowed to go through that. Everybody has their things, but just count your blessings. That's the most important thing, because you have a lot to be thankful for. Everybody does. You might not think it. It might be hard to see. But if you really sit back and stop and think about it, there's a lot to be thankful for, whether it is a job. It might be a job that doesn't pay you, don't think that it's worth, but it's still a job. Thank God you got that.
Correct.
Maybe your car's sputtering a little bit and you're, oh my God, but at least you got that car. Maybe you're not talking to a friend or a family member, but hey, you know what? You got that significant other right next to you,
Yeah.
or you're talking to these people here. There's other things to be grateful for. That's always my advice to everybody. Let's get back into the mysteries
Let's
of it
roll.
all. So I pulled up this list. There's different things that I'm always interested in. Tati made fun of me the other day, but she's not wrong, Alex. And you know me, you know this um, about me, obviously, with, whether it's first one of the great mysteries is like the Shroud of Turin. I really love that, and I love the mystery of it, the all about it. I think that's really cool. The other one, you got obviously the JFK conspiracy. You've got Lincoln. You got different things like that. That's really cool. But these are some things that. Well, let me ask you before we get through these. I want to read some of these through. Before we do
Yeah.
that, what are some like the drones or whatever? What is something that always intrigues you, where you kind of like maybe you forget and then you get back to it, and you go, damn, dude, and you like a mystery that no one really knows, but you're intrigued with, that you feel a certain way about.
Well, to me has always been extraterrestrials. To me, I've always been drawn to them because I see it sometimes as like a superior life form because they reach to us.
This is good. I like that one.
Yeah, that's true. Pyramids of Egypt, absolutely. One of the wonders of the world. To me, what I love. I know to me the ultimate mystery is the legit when you cease to exist in a physical form. Do you transform? Are you a spiritual being? Do you communicate with your loved ones? What I can see, and personally, what I have seen, even when my grandmother passed away, is the truth of family members and familiarities. You don't know if it's a state of mind or if it's an actual um, physical transformation per se. But what when my grandmother was passed away, she was talking to her brother who had passed away. I want to say 10 years before, and she did mention, "Oh, they're gonna come. They're coming for me. It's not my time yet." And it's true. She didn't pass away for another 3 months. But the insane concept of this is one of our good friends when my grandmother was in surgery, and my grandma she did survive a full hip replacement in '96 because she fell, broke her hips. She had a full hip replacement, and she was recovering. She got sick in rehabilitation, and then she got an infection, and she passed away. But when she was in surgery, the moment she got out of surgery, she asked us for this particular human being. That he was talking to me, and I was wondering how he was doing, and he had just passed away that morning in a car accident. So to me, the spiritual connections that people have has always been one of my mysteries, and I call it a mystery because not a lot of people believe in it per se. But I've always been a believer that, for example, what is your conscience? It's not an organ that actually feels. It's your conscience is something within you. Yes, a brain. A brain is meat, a muscle that thinks, that processes information, that stores information. Like, are we really storing information kind of like in the cloud, where it's insane that right now you get a human being, remove part of his brain, and it wipes out functions. So we are the perfect motherboard. So is the extraterrestrial life, the connection of the afterlife. That to me has always been the biggest mystery for me. For me, I know other people are afraid to think about it, but I've always thought about even death as part of life. It's not an ending; it's an ending in the physical form. But I don't think that's the ending for a spirit, in my opinion. I guess I could be 100% wrong, but I don't know.
I
I just
think
feel
that's
there's more out there. There has to be something else out there, and the way we communicate with it, either we're not advanced enough to communicate with it, or um, all these AI technologies that has to come from somewhere. You get me? Like that's why when I love Transformers, because I legit feel that what is allowed to come out, because remember the government clears these movies. These movies are made with full government approval, and what the public is allowed to know. but there has to be another form of life out there somewhere. There just has to be, because there is no ending.
Yeah, no, and I see, comments. Tati says serial killers is a great mystery to
That's
her,
true.
just in figuring them out.
Why do you kill?
Ghost, did you get there, and I agree with you. I think, I've seen too much, nothing crazy or nothing like scary, but just even recently, with hearing and with hearing other people's stories, and with certain passing, and just little things, and being open to the signs that I believe I'm with you. I don't believe it stops at the end. There's too there somehow some way it continues, but it's the mystery. What's after? That's the great mystery. I mean, if you believe in your faith, and if you're you have faith that what's after, but really it's still a mystery, because you're like, okay, but what, and what continues, what doesn't. But yeah, growing up, Ashley, you know me, I've always been into the afterlife and this paranormal stuff and everything else, but there are many other items, but unfortunately it just shows how insignificant we are, in my opinion. Why haven't we gone back to the moon? That is an
Yeah,
awesome
yeah,
question and mystery,
yeah.
and that is one of the things, obviously, again, the moon landing, that was a conspiracy, and it's like, did we
Yeah.
really go to the moon? And
The space race,
the
of
space,
the 60s. Yeah.
talk about John 3:16, and again, another mystery that I think is just so crazy, is not crazy, but something that always intrigues me, and I just love researching, and there's so many conflicting um studies and whatever, is the Shroud of Turin. That is a really interesting, either it's a magnificent piece of art that some people said that Da Vinci did, but then when you really research it, it's okay. So if you don't know what the Shroud of Turin is, um, uh, it is uh, it is a long cloth, an ancient cloth, bearing the image of a man who was crucified, or that shows that was crucified and beaten and crucified, a naked man. And the belief is that this image bears the image of Christ, of Jesus Christ, or Jesus of Nazareth. And what's crazy is, people say, for, just when you look at this image, when you see it by itself in plain light, you can barely see the man on there, but what happened was, back in the day, the photographer, it has not been debunked. That's the thing. Some people will take it as debunked, because they did some studies back in the 60s or the 80s. They did some testing outside, where outside of the cloth, and they said, oh, this was from the medieval times, but really it went through so much. You got to remember how many hands it went through. That's the mystery of it, how many hands it went through back to the medieval times, and how it was and if somebody restapled stuff or did stuff like that. And That's where it come in. That's what they say. So there's some, that's the other, that was what made it, people start talking about it again, because they did some recent stuff and saw, no, that it went further back than what it was. And and this is the thing, right? So this was the mystery of it, talking about this man. So when they did the negative of this shroud, they took a picture. When they looked at the negatives of the picture, then you see this guy plain as day. I mean, it's, you see everything on them. And then but here's the thing, medieval paintings, go to the medieval paintings of Christ on the cross, or the resurrected Christ. The nail in the hand were in the hands. We know now that's not true. Back then, of course, oh, Jesus was blonde and blue eyes. We know that's crap. That's not true. He was dark skinned and dark hair, and because you go with the people of the time. But they say, oh, he was, the pictures always show this. Even, the famous artists show that. Leonardo da Vinci. So the truth is, no, they were crucified here, because if you put it here, your hands gonna fall out, rip. They put it here because it's between the bones, and it's the most damaged, it's the nerves. In the shroud, that's where it is. That's where the nails are. And of course, it shows the puncture wound on the side. We know the history of that. And then, of course, the feet, if you can see, there's a sign of rigor mortis, because one foot is a little up like this and the other one's like this. Anyway, it is it's one of the, I love that. I love looking at that and coming back to it. There's so many different stories about it and everything else. It's either a magnificent piece of art, a really good piece of art, and how they did it, we'll never know. or it's not. Either way, it's really cool. So let's get into some of these other mysteries that never been solved and whatever, and kind of roll out from there. So I found a few of these and I said, oh, these are kind of cool. But like the incident at Diatala Pass on the first night of February 1959. Whoa. Hi. How you doing? I'm doing a show. What are you doing? There's somebody didn't lock the door, huh? Look at that. Sorry, got a
An intruder. You got a fan.
yeah. Hold on.
She's being pulled away. At her will, of course. This is all just sound effects. He just turned off the mic so you don't hear her screaming for her father.
No, just
Yeah.
no. You hear the screaming though. No, Dad, wait, Dad. That's my youngest. I don't know why the door was unlocked, but anyway. Do we have a prediction? The Bermuda Triangle is also interesting.
Oh, the Bermuda Triangle.
Bobby
yes.
took the deep dive. Anyway, on the first night of February 1959, 9 ski hikers died mysteriously in the mountains of what is now Russia. On the night of the incident, the group had set out camp on a slope, enjoyed dinner, and prepared to sleep. But something went catastrophically wrong because the group never returned. On February 26th, searchers found the hikers' abandoned tent, which was ripped open from the inside. Surrounding the area were footprints left by the group, some wearing socks, some wearing a single shoe, some barefoot, all of which continued to the edge of the nearby woods. That's where the first 2 bodies were found, shoeless and wearing only underwear. The scene bore marks of death by hypothermia, but as medical examiners were inventoried the bodies, as well as the other 7 that were discovered over the months that were followed, hypothermia no longer made sense. In fact, the evidence made no sense at all. One body had evidence of blunt force trauma consistent of a brutal assault. Other had 3rd-degree burns. One had been vomiting blood. One was missing a tongue, and some of their clothing were found to be radioactive. Theories that were floated included KGB interference, drug overdose, UFO, gravity anomalies, and the Russian version of the Yeti. Recently, a documentary filmmaker presented a theory involving a terrifying but real phenomena called infrasound, in which the wind interacts with the topography to create a barely audible hum that can nonetheless induce a powerful feelings of nausea, panic, dread, chills, nervousness, raised heartbeat rate, breathing difficulties. The only consensus remained that whatever happened involved an overwhelming and possibly inhuman force. If you ever want more unsolved mysteries, get a look at the strangest in every state. So anyway, when I saw that, I thought that was crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's like the happening. Remember the Mark Wahlberg movie?
Yeah. And I've heard hypothermia could lead to crazy things. People, you're so cold, but then they found them usually naked because you take your clothes off.
Yeah.
And which is nuts, crop circles. That's a good one. When you say do we have a prediction? I'm sorry to interrupt our thought part. Are you talking about the game, DSG? The Dolphins versus the Niners? Is that what you're talking about? But yeah, man, that's crazy. Let me see.
Chupacabra. Do you remember the Chupacabra story?
Oh yeah, bro. Absolutely. This one's a very interesting. I think let me just make sure. Yeah, okay. So do you ever heard the story of DB Cooper?
No.
Okay, so November 24th, 1971, Dan Cooper was a passenger on Northwest Airlines Flight 305. This was on Unsolved Mysteries. I remember this one. Was a passenger on Northwest Airlines Flight 305. Hey, from Portland to Seattle, a 30-minute flight. He was described by passengers and flight attendants as a man in his mid-40s wearing a dark suit, black tie with a mother-of-pearl tie clip and a neatly pressed white collared shirt. He took his seat, lit a cigarette, and politely ordered a bourbon and soda, for which he paid cash. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to the 23-year-old flight attendant, who ignored it, assuming it was just a man's phone number. He said, "Miss, you better look at the note. I have a bomb." The next exact wording is part of the mystery, since Cooper reclaimed it after the flight attendant read it, but his demands were $200,000 in negotiable American currency, which is $1 million. It's worth $1 million today. 4 parachutes, a fuel truck standing in by Seattle to refuel the plane on arrival. The flight attendant brought the demands to the captain. The airline's president authorized full cooperation. The other passengers had no idea what was happening, having been told the landing was delayed due to mechanical difficulties. At 5:39 p.m., the plane landed. An airline employee delivered a cash-filled knapsack and parachutes, and Cooper allowed all passengers and 2 flight attendants to leave the plane. During refueling, Cooper outlined his plan to the crew: a southeasterly course toward Mexico with one further refueling stop in Nevada. 2 hours later, the plane took off. It landed in Reno. Cooper's absence was noted. Cooper, whom the media mistakenly referred to as DB Cooper, was never seen nor heard from again. No parachute was found, and the ransom money was never used. In 1980, a young boy on vacation with his family in Oregon found several packets of ransom money, identifiable by a serial number, led to an intense search of the area for Cooper or his remains. Nothing was found. For a time, it was speculated that Mad Men's fictional Don Draper was the man who became Cooper. In the real world, the parachute strap was found in 2017 at one of his possible landing sites. That was one of the great mysteries, dude. Like that guy hijacked a plane, and basically jumped out of it midair to Nevada and was gone forever, left, but never spent the money. That was crazy. That's right. DB Cooper was real, but never caught. That's why it's one of the great mysteries. Malaysia 37 is
that's another one.
I just watched a documentary on that, man. That's insane. Tough. I hate that for the families because there's no closure.
No closure. And a flight just doesn't disappear out of thin air unless it gets zapped.
Look at this.
The theory of all
51. Yeah. Area 51 is there. It's always
Area 51. If you step in Area 51 and you're not authorized, you're gonna be shot on the spot.
Yeah.
That's insane.
The theory of all blood presidents being related. I never heard of that one. Let's see here. Another one. Malaysia was one of them. The Flannan Isle Lighthouse disappearances. In 1900, 3 keepers of the Flannan Isles Lighthouse off the west coast of Scotland disappeared under the strangest of circumstances. The lighthouse was manned by a 3-person team: Thomas Marshall, James Ducott, and Donald MacArthur, with a 4th man rotating in from the shore. On Boxing Day, which is December 26 on 1900, the relief keeper arrived to find none of the lighthouse keepers present. The only sign that anything was amiss was an overturned chair near the kitchen table. No bodies were ever found, which had led to endless speculation. Theories range from drownings to abduction by foreign spies, a ghost ship, a giant sea monster. Whatever happened back in 1900 at the Flannan Isle Lighthouse, we may never know. That's crazy. A theory that could actually turn out to true. That's always the craziest thing, is that stuff there because that's, again, you think of the Malaysian flight, you think about something like that, disappearances that were never explained.
Amelia Earhart,
which we're very familiar with.
We're very familiar, yeah.
The Loch Ness Monster, that's really cool. This is really actually a really cool deal. I'm into some conspiracy. Bigfoot, My thing is this: when it comes to stuff like that, Loch Ness and Bigfoot and aliens, whatever. Obviously there's things that are, what do you call, Alex? When somebody
supernatural.
Inflates the story.
Yeah, I got you.
But I
propaganda
think, I just think there's a little bit of truth to everything. Glad you brought that one up, Sea Devil. I actually had that one here. Let's read that one very quick. Where is it? I know I saw it. Ghost ship, the Mary Celeste. On December 4th, 1872, a British-American ship called the Mary Celeste was found empty and adrift in the Atlantic. It was found to be seaworthy with its cargo fully intact, except for a lifeboat, which it appeared had been boarded in an orderly fashion. But why? We may never know, because no one on board was ever heard or from again. On November 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail from New York bound for Italy. She was manned by Captain Benjamin Briggs with 7 crew members, including Briggs's wife and 2-year-old daughter. Supplies aboard were ample enough for 6 months and luxurious, including a sewing machine and an upright piano. Commentators generally agree that to precipitate the abandonment of a seaworthy ship, some extraordinary and alarming circumstances may have arisen. However, the last entry on the ship's daily log reveals nothing unusual, and inside the ship, all appeared to be in order. Theories over the years have included mutiny, pirate attack, an assault by a giant octopus, or sea monster. In recent years, scientists have posed the theory that fumes from alcohol on board caused an explosion that, as a result of a scientific anomaly, did not leave behind signs of burning, but was terrifying enough that Briggs ordered everyone into the lifeboat, that everyone ordered on the lifeboat. So that's great stuff, man. And that's right. A lot of this stuff was really spooky pre-internet age. You had to be there. It was actually hard to find info back. It's true. It's true. I know Alex and I love this stuff. We could go on for hours watching and looking about this. I was into Loch Ness when I was younger. I was too. And I just love when people post shit, and you see these pictures and it's hard to explain these pictures. But what sucks is, as we get more into the age of AI, what's fact, what's fiction. It's easier to fake shit nowadays. That's the only problem. So you really got to take stuff with a grain of salt. My thing always is, especially when my kids go, well, Dad, what about this? What about that? I say, you know what? I can only tell you what my belief is, what I think it is. You got to make that decision for yourself. I would say that I think there's a little bit of truth to everything. Correct. But all that and more. Alex, my brother, we are almost 2 hours into an interesting episode of East 10th Street Boys. I want to thank everybody who's tuning in and has commented. Maybe we'll talk more about this next week as well, with more mysteries. I think this was a lot of fun. Even though it's not even Halloween, it's not really a Halloween thing, because even Christmas you could tell good ghost stories, but there's some really good stuff to talk about. East 10th Street Boys, nothing's off limits. So hey, from Kevin, Sea Devil, DSG, Fitzanza, Tati, EM Dolphin fan, Cap, everyone. I don't want to miss you. If I do, forgive me. Duke, Daniel earlier, everyone 72 undefeated, everyone who's tuning in, we appreciate you so much. Thank you. Alex, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I genuinely, now you left me thinking. For next week, definitely more conspiracy theories, and also we can look at conspiracy theories that were debunked or actually proven, or kind of have gone silent and people are not around them anymore.
Yeah,
media's gone silent.
There's so many here. I put a bunch in here that I was looking at. I was like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
The Pollock sisters proof reincarnation. That's a good one. Where are the Solder children? These are mysteries. That the big gray man, the lost colony of Renuk, the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines. There's different ones, and there's even ones like Atlantis. I like the idea of the monsters, botnets. That's so interesting.
Mermaids.
And here's it, mermaids. There's so many things like Loch Ness. You would go like, oh, come on, man. But it's like, well, damn, though. Have they disproven it though? They find weird things. They have found weird things. People, Slender Man. There's other things. We'll do that. We'll for sure continue this conversation next week, guys. So
for sure.
Do me a favor, guys. Do your homework. So when we come back next week, when we get into this topic, you guys could throw some stuff in there and we could talk about it. We'll pull up some stuff and discuss. Maybe I'll have to work out some graphics so we could kind of see some of this stuff too, or at least get an idea of it. But anyway, guys, that's Alex the Boy. I'm Bobby El Gringo. We appreciate you all. Have a good night. Miami.
Buenas noches.
Bobby El Gringo's in the house. Straight out of Hialeah, no doubt. East 10th Street, where we play out. Here we bring the Miami crowd. Alex the Boy with the B. Step into rhythm, feel the heat. Street vibes mixing with the